Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fridays with Father. This time, Father is now here in the parish, and Deacon Jose, he's our pastoral assistant for um,
Pastoral care.
pastoral care, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm Deacon Felix. I'm pastoral assistant for liturgy and Hispanic ministry. As you noticed, last 2 weeks we were not here, and we were in a pilgrimage that was put together by a priest and brothers of Marinol to San Salvador and Guatemala. And we're going to share with you during this Fridays with Father about our experience. Welcome to Fridays with Father. So the first part of the retreat, we were in San Salvador. We arrived there on January 10, and we spent January 11 and 12 in the San Salvador, visiting all the tombs of the martyrs and all the places where these people were killed because of their faith. Later on Tuesday of the same week, we moved to Guatemala, and also we visit all these places in Guatemala where people were Catholic and they offered their life for the faith, but especially how they defend the poor, the vulnerable, and how they support all this. So that's basically was our itinerary. We were 2 days in El Salvador, and the rest of the trip, before we come back, we spent it in Guatemala.
Well, this pilgrimage retreat, some of the things we did, like Deacon Felix was saying, we went to El Salvador, and some of the places we visit was the chapel where Bishop Romero, St. Oscar Romero now, celebrated his last Mass. It was a very powerful experience, especially for me, because as some of you may know, I was born in El Salvador, and I was a kid, when Bishop Romero was still alive. And I had the opportunity to serve at Mass at the same altar, where Archbishop Romero celebrated his last Mass. So it was a very powerful moment, seeing where he lay down, and thinking, this is the price we should be willing to pay to be Christians. And I was asking to myself, am I ready to do that? And we also visited other places, like where the Jesuit priests were killed, where they are buried. And any of those places, we pray for you guys. We pray for the community. We pray that we will have the strength to be true disciples.
So when we went to Guatemala, we visit, we were staying in the Antigua, in the Posada San Pedro, Hermano Pedro, which is a monk, a Franciscan monk who was in there and helped to build a lot of the faith in that place. Also, we visit San Lucas Toliman. We visit Santiago Atitlan. In those places, basically, we visit a couple people, and we hear the testimony of some people who share with us how our indigenous brothers and sisters were persecuted and tried to displace them. The military tried to displace them from their places, so they have to fight. Well, not fighting in a war, but fighting, try to resist and try to keep what they belong to them, try to save all the culture, all the land. But anyway, during that time, we also learned that there was a lot of people who were killed, as Deacon Jose was sharing, and I will share a little bit more later. It was close to 75,000 people that they killed in El Salvador. And I say this with sadness, over 250,000 in Guatemala. And that's just because the conflict that this country they have, the abuse of power, the abuse of those who were in power and try to displace all these people from their land.
Yeah, one of the moments that impacted me the more was when we visit Santiago Atitlan, with Father Stanley Rother was killed. And you can see the spot where where he was killed. We can see the hole on the floor, what the bullet went through, and how the community got to love him, and he loved the community. He was willing to lay down his life for them. And when Father Rotter came back, or say they sent his body back to the United States, the community asked if they can keep the heart. And Santiago Atitlan keep Father Stanley's heart, because for them, that was very special. That's for them, it's like having him within the community. We also visited the sick. We made groups of deacons and priests. I think there was 5 deacons and 18 priests. So we went in pairs and we visited the sick at Santiago Atitlan. So the love of the community for the Lord and for Father Stanley, I think that's one of the things that impacted me the most.
So when I come back, people ask me what was the more impact part for me, but I don't know if I have something special. You describe this experience like full of joy, full of pain, full of hope, because at the same time it was painful to see all the people who die and the way that they die. It was also, there was joy in my heart that there were people who take care of the most poor, especially the priests and all the catechists, because there is no deacons in Guatemala and Salvador, but there is a lot of people, a lot of lay people who help in the catechesis, and some of them, they also lay down their lives to protect and defend the rights of the indigenous people. So that gave me a lot of hope and joy to know that love exists. And love exists in his maximum expression. Like Jesus say, give the life for the other. And give the life because we know the other people, the other person is my brother and sister. So the whole pilgrimage, the whole retreat was really a moment of transformation for me. If I don't know if I'm able to find just a specific moment. I will say since we arrived in El Salvador until the moment that we leave Antigua, Guatemala, it was a special moment in the grace of God. Well, thank you so much for being with us in this Friday to Father. Thank you, Deacon Jose, and thank you, Shane, for his recording. And we can share more with you. The reality is a lot of days to share just in one video, and we're going to be sharing here and there in our homilies or in a moment that we can talk. And please join us for Mass this weekend, again, 9 a.m. We live stream that in English, 11:30 in Spanish, and 5 p.m. Thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless you.